We've got our mate here today, our mascot. Start 'em young and that.
That's the car cartel crash.
Yeah, I'll be in there later.
Huh? What are you saying? Oh, right, okay.
You told me no, you won't.
Fair enough.
So yeah, so obviously, you've seen that we've got the Celica. I always go to call it a Corolla for some reason, but we've got the Celica. This is what the Americans call it. So we've got the Celica. We're going to have a good check over it now. We're going to check the water, the oil. We're going to turn it over by hand, and then we're going to try and get to the bottom of why. Well, we're going to try and start it basically,
Yeah.
mate. So
We haven't heard it.
we had it run.
Heard
Heard it.
And Clive
Is
says.
that what it sounds like, mate?
So basically, we don't run. Well, it sounds like that.
If anybody has a go at him talking over us, unsubscribe.
First things first.
Right.
Check the oil.
Well, yeah, I've just wiped it and now we've ducked back in. It seems thick, but there's plenty on there.
There's plenty in there.
I don't know. Ah! No, stab myself. Yeah, there's no water in there, mate.
Think it's lost all its water?
Yeah.
Well, he did say it was overheating. It had an overheating problem, so unless it overheated and it never.
Water?
Yeah, you might as well just put normal water in it.
You got some DR noise there, mate. I've heard rumours it's easier just to drop the engine when you're working on it.
I think it is, mate, because you can't, like I said, you can't even get the cam belt cover off.
Can't drop the engine to then check it to pull it back in.
You can. Sussed out the immobiliser, haven't you?
Yeah.
Fortunately, they sent the first time we've done it and I got a load of dust in my face the first time.
So basically, the immobiliser was on. Stokes and Jack had a play of it. I worked hard to take the immobiliser off. 20 years of dust has just choked Jack out. So we might have to take him to the emergency services to have his... Oh.
Is that remote?
Maybe.
See?
There you go. It just flashed. There you go. So listen. So now I've worked it out. You have to. Boom.
Okay, yeah. We got lights on the dash.
I don't
dust
even
in our
know.
face. Turn the dial. Turn the dial. Was that temperature?
I don't even have to turn it down.
That one, the dial.
No, it just does the heat. Oh no. There we go. Off.
Yeah, but Dave, did you find Euphoria 2 on cassette?
Mate, wait till I get the old cassettes out that we used to listen to. What? Have you got any MCs, mate? MC Danger and that.
A tape pack.
Who was that? Who was the kid? MC Skinny Man.
There was one called
Skinny Man, and he was like real.
Go on.
He's really good, and everyone's like, oh, he just never took off.
I
I don't know. Anyway, yeah, we chavs. If you hadn't already noticed, I'm ready to start her.
Oh, Dave, I've got my hand all in the flipping pulleys and that.
Come on. Yeah.
It's alright, that, isn't it?
Hey,
Modern this car is, isn't it?
I'll tell you now, everything seems to be working, and I'm sure there's... Yeah, look at the lumbar supports. Right, hang on. Oh! I love a folding mirror, mate. I feel like when you got a folding mirror, it's top spec.
For 92, it seems very
Right, lumbar.
ahead of its time.
Yeah.
The lumbar's working. It's coming in, it's going out. Oh!
Something just gone up your backside?
No, that's really bucketing, huh?
Oh, is it doing this side bit
Yeah.
as well?
Oh, is that for when you're doing a bit of spirited driving? chuck the lumbar support on, and then when you're cruising,
It's the wings, ain't it, or whatever you call them, the side bits.
It's when you think you call us science. Signs.
Or it's what do they call it now when they cater for everyone? Like they've catered for all with the seating.
Well,
White people, skinny people. It's an every person car, isn't it?
Don't even bother saying any comments in there about me being wide.
Yeah. That's like
Never open when hot.
You know when you're just dreaming it's an easy fix and you just buy the radiator cap and that sorts all your overheating problems. That's what he's done right.
it must be the radiator cap.
Start with the radiator cap and.
Oh bloody hell! Clive's had his bloody touch up. Stoke. We got another rad cap here. Look.
How's he gone? Just in case.
Just in case. Yeah.
He's gone for the higher. He's gone for the higher blow off. So, because his mate, you always speak to Steve down the pub, and his mate he had one. He goes, it's just the rad cap.
How old that is? That proper 80s. That is. Look how retro that is, man. Motoring from 89 to 90.
I wasn't even born then.
Weren't you?
I was born in 90.
Me and Stoke were at 87. So I was 2 to 3. Stokesy was 13.
He was right.
He was. Have you ever watched Benjamin Button?
Yeah.
That's what Stokesy's got.
He's
aging backwards, right? Yeah. So he's alright, mate. Trust me. He's a lot older than he looks. should review mirror that in.
How are you getting on?
I ain't even got the cam cover off yet. Since the last troublesome bolt, I think. I'm gonna laugh, aren't we? So we've got that cam cover out. It's a bit of a struggle. Could have done with taking a few more bits off, but if you look down here, the water pump is really, it's obviously an aluminium house, it's really furred up.
Yeah.
But what we can do now, if we get it up on the ramp, or we may have to take this wheel off and there's a cover, get on the bottom pulley, and we can get something on it and turn this engine over and see if everything's kind of free. Because we don't know how good the engine is, we don't know if it could have like a seized alternator, seized water pump, could be anything. But if we can get it over by hand and it spins freely, we'll give it a turn with the key.
Yeah. And you, shush.
Hear it?
Yeah. Go on, do it again. Yeah.
Like changing your in a machine. Yeah. Weird, isn't it? But obviously the other thing is we've got a problem with the clutch, which he said the clutch is not working. The pedal's there, but apparently can't engage a gear, so that could be something to do with that. So that spins over. Dave's got the immobiliser all working, all the dash. So we might as well. The cam belt looks, it says Toyota on it, so it's an old cam belt, but it isn't snapped. It doesn't look in too bad of condition for like just starting it up anyway. Should we give it a whirl?
Moment of truth. Probably not gonna. What? What your son's mark on his dribbling? You ready, Ron? Nothing. Yeah, nothing.
We'll have to check the starter. See if we're getting 12 volts to the starter when you're doing that. And then, I mean, it could start motor, could be the solenoid, could be seized, anything. Nothing seems to be clicking though in the engine bay. We're going to undo this intake pipe for the turbo because the start motor is literally just behind that, and then we can see either take it off or check there's power to it. Do you know what I mean? But it's been sitting 18 years, hasn't it? So we may be able to give it a bit of a jump into life, and then put it back on, and hopefully, boom. I don't think it will though.
Here you go.
Oh my god, we've got a bit of a
mouse infestation
Yeah.
in the air filter.
cool, isn't that?
Oh my god,
That's all the insulation from all there. That shouldn't be there.
that stinks. That does.
You know that
What is it
you know
you
that
and
dust. You know that dust what blew into their car.
Yeah, it's rat feces. What's the disease you get from rats? Is it Legionnaire's disease?
No, that's water. Get,
Let me have a look here.
What is the one you get from
No, you
rats?
do look a bit legionary.
I look like a Legionnaire. Is that all crap?
So that was squirrels. No, it's little squirrel nuts, isn't it?
Or is it nuts holding?
fucking horrible. That.
Good job we didn't get it to fire up, innit?
We're sucking squirrels in.
Squirrels in the intake. The solenoid's trying to flick, or it's flicking the solenoid out, but then the motor isn't actually turning over. So it could be simple, like just needs freeing up, spinning over by hand, and then it might work. So we'll get it off. I thought if I could get it to turn over like that, bolted to the car, it'd be easier than us trying to unbolt it off. But
Yeah, it's
as
got to
always,
unbolt off anyway.
as always.
No, if you was a house, you'd be the Waffle House. Oh. Let's see, nothing in there.
Considering it was only 2 bolts, it was a bit of a pain,
It was
wasn't it?
jammed in there on that little. Now we can see the flywheel. I'm going to whack the nut on the back of the end of the crank. I'm going to turn it over and make sure that spins, because obviously you said about the clutch problem. Could be like snapped clutch or snapped flywheel. We'll just check that spins over as well. I know the start motor isn't working, but I don't know because Jack's stood on it. So Jack could have a look for the little hole and I'll spin this over. We've got to remove the transfer box to change that. We've got to do the cam out, which is going to be 10 times easier with it out. We're going to end up dropping the whole engine out. But
Drop the oil engine out?
yeah, before we do that, we want to start it to make sure it runs okay. And that's because I've just turned that over by hand. I think I've just cleaned, obviously.
Put it back in there.
Right, I'm telling you, that's got some boost, that.
Just my gun all over again, this is.
Apparently, every time I use Dave's gun, that's one less time Dave can use it.
It's right though, isn't it?
Dave never uses it though, so that
I never use it because it's never here. I come to use it where I'm just out in my truck. Oh, you got my gun? Yeah. Little sticky fingered Rich has noticed when he's been messing around here that this sensor's broke and he believes it's a water sensor.
we go into the water.
And maybe,
That isn't true what we've just done.
and that's not something we've just done, but maybe
It's corroded
that
away,
could
hasn't it?
be the reason it overheats.
Imagine.
Stranger things have happened at sea, my friend.
Making a clicking noise now.
He never did that before. You? Why are you not ready with that camera?
So, start mode's working now. So we're going to put the rest of the bits back together. We have got, was it 20 or 18 years old fuel in this?
Probably not the best. We have got some good fuel.
But I think we'll get it back together, give it a few turns over, because that'll get all the oil round anyway. And then we need to then check, obviously, spark and fuel if...
I reckon I can donut this, don't I?
You ain't got no brakes, mate, so...
Someone needs to brake when you donut then.
That is a true story, that is. We haven't heard a fuel pump yet, so I'm just going to spray a bit of this in the air box. If it tries to fire up, we know the plugs are all good. So then it's just down to fuel then, I think. So, like I said, fuel pump, I don't think it's working. Go on then, try that. So, Spark plugs good.
Yeah, let's go right.
Sounds nice, mate.
Go on, do it again.
Smells the.
I don't
it
want to really
smells.
run it soon.
Once more.
For the fans.
For the fans.
Hang on.
Right then. Start.
Sounds pretty good, mate.
Sounds sweet, man.
No knocks, no bangs, no rattles, which is good.
So,
Yeah.
let's find the fuel pump. I think it's easier for you.
You know, like Badil and Skinner
Skinner and Deal.
and Ant and Deck. Dave and Stoke.
I think we've got a good pump, boys.
That's not even the right one. You're meant to be doing it to the white one. Yeah, good pump.
This is retro.
What's Clive been nailing? Coldplay,
X and Y.
EMF, Echo,
And the Bunnymen. Faithless.
Faithless.
Oh, there you go.
Insomnia. Can't get no sleep. Dave removed the sender unit and the fuel pump seems to be tucked further under, doesn't it? We can't access that. And we've looked underneath and we can't seem to feel it or find it. I think it's literally just on the top of this tank here. So what we're going to do, for some reason, these Toyota boys bang at it, ain't they? Left us a drain plug. So we're going to try the drain plug. Drain it, because this fuel in it smells like the 309 fuel, like varnish.
Gone off, innit?
It's gone off, so we need to get the fuel out of this tank really, because I think we're going to cause ourselves loads more issues. First things first, if we can get this tank drain, drop it down, have a look at this pump, try and get this pump working. If not, we're going to have to order a new pump and then go from there, aren't we? But engine runs on the easy, but we'd like to have it up and running on its own.
Under its own steam.
Under its own steam,
under
Jack,
its own
precisely. If we had smell-o-vision now, just imagine you just varnished the table.
I think that bucket ain't going to be big enough. Anyone ever been dehydrated?
These Japanese, they do stuff well, but they do it well.
Too
This was
well.
like an old Ford Sierra and it would have fell off. Fuel lines were getting held up by, so we're going to try and disconnect these, but they look a bit rusty. So hopefully we don't break anything, but if we do, we've got to replace it anyway, ain't we?
Moss on the fuel tank.
Don't fucking touch my belly button. I'll stab you if you touch my belly button. I can't have it.
He's got a little fence around it.
Some barbed wire.
Can't. It fucking makes me feel. Don't mess around. She made me feel all weird now. I'm fucking all weird now.
What?
I don't know. I just can't have my belly button being touched.
You hold the metal bit.
Bob's a good one.
As
I
you
have to
can.
wash my hands again.
Oh, wash your hands down. We'll wash my arms, face, and head.
It was back time I had a bath.
Have a nice trip. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Take it right up now. Tank's off finally. We're gonna change the pump.
Oh, we still got to test it, haven't we?
I'll test it.
But
get a
I
new
don't think
one.
it works.
Yeah, gonna get a new one.
You'll see that in I'm getting dripped on with fuel. You'll see us in 2 seconds with a new fuel pump and hopefully back on running. Lift by magic, Dave.
We're back.
Yeah. Petrol tank.
Petrol tank's off.
What we got down there?
We've got a new fuel pump.
See what we did there? Within 2 seconds we've got a brand new fuel
We
pump.
don't mess around here.
So we're going to whip this out now, have a look at this original pump and see what's gone on with
reckon
it.
it's the pump, don't we?
Well, it's not working, so
And we know we got sparks. We put some easy starting like
Yeah, and
we've
it
seen
ran
it,
up.
You got to build it yourself.
yeah, make your own fuel pump. Doing right, you are, aren't you, Dave?
Yeah.
And your eyebrows. Yeah.
Oh, you prick.
You can sit right on the camera, you can see them a mile off.
Mate, why have you got to point them out? I like to be well groomed, alright?
But they're that groomed.
Look, yeah.
Fluorescent.
I left the dye on for too long, so the girl put the dye on and I started talking to my mate, and my mate didn't let me go. and it was only meant to be on for a couple of minutes, and we were on for about 15 minutes. She got something and scrubbed it right, yeah, and it still didn't come on. So yeah, I've got these perfect little.
No, look good, mate. Nice.
Oh, this is definitely the problem.
Yeah. That.
Jesus Christ. Sorry it's taking the Lord's name in vain.
That is one crusty ass.
Now that's...
What did you stick in your mouth then?
Nah. By the looks of it though. So, unlike me, I ended up in the pub last night.
Yeah. Dave was playing bingo at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Playing bingo.
But then he's got sick.
So what I think happened is, I played bingo, obviously I got excited, and then I was sick and I lay on my own sick apparently.
Dave still got the 6 shorts on this morning.
Just a tramp pen on. Yeah. As you can see, saving back in the 80s.
Technology's moved along and it's
yeah, you only have to have this little gem now.
Anyway, we'll get this on the bench and get it stripped down, and we'll get this fitted, eh, Dave? Hopefully.
Back into.
And purring like a kitten, won't you? Got it cleaned up. Just a quick spruce, you know, nothing major. It's going back in the tank. And like Dave said, is it a direct fit? No, it isn't. So it's kind of universal. So they give you 2 options with that. They give you 2 options with that. But from looking at it, I think it's going to work. A couple of cable ties, you know, just to finish it off. And then that plugs straight into that. So what we're going to have to do with them connectors is wire the positive and the negative on, and then that's on the positive. I think kind of a safety thing. So we'll get that on there. Wow. Yeah, we'll wire that in there as well. At the end of this, you'll see us try and put it back in the packets to then send it all back. We've had to modify a few bits, but it seems pretty sturdy. I could whack a cable tie around there to keep that clamped in, but
I would.
Yeah, I mean, if it falls out of that, the pump's just going to still do its job. It's cable tie. It's got these little clips on here holding it onto the pipe work. So, but I think for an extra precaution, I've got a big cable tie. I'm going to just wrap it. It didn't have that anyway. It was exactly the same as that before.
No, it won't. It was a lot bigger.
This is Toyota spec. So I've got it all cobbled back together. Just as a precaution, put this big cable tie on to hold it all onto the housing. So I've literally just bench tested it to make sure. I'll just stick this cable in there. So we'll get this in now, get the tank back on, get some fresh fuel in, and see if she'll go. Just had a look in the tank before we put this back in. I don't know if you can pick that out on the camera. It's just crap. So I've been scraping around this breaker bar. I'm going to put some fuel in now and try and swill a bit of this out. But it is kind of what it is, because all it's going to do is block that teabag strainer straight away, and then we're back to square one. So give this a swill out and hopefully get it all back in and together. Tank's all back on. We'll open the boot, connect the fuel pump and that back up, and then we've got some fresh fuel.
Yeah.
And we're going to give it a go, aren't we, Dave? See if we can get a
The keys in it, yeah.
see if we get a fuel pump prime. You could have blown the fuse, you know what I mean? Oh, she coughed. She runs for 2 seconds, that's all she needs to do.
Just getting rid of all this crappy fuel.
Oh, hold on, Dave, turn it off, mate. We've got a major fuel leak. Yeah, like major.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We've got a pinhole basically in these rusty, rotten fuel pipes. So what I'm going to try and do I've got a bit of rubber pipe. I'm going to slip it over the rusty pipe. Hope it stinks, man. Hopefully patch up this little hole so we can run this engine and run it up and make sure, because we've got obviously this overheating problem we need to kind of pinpoint. Cause it could be that broken sensor wire, or it could be head gasket. But it'd be nice to get it up and running, see what it does, because we're going to have to drop the engine out, aren't we?
Yeah.
And we're going to have to drop everything underneath here off to kind of tidy it all up. But I don't want to be putting stuff back and it needs stuff doing. I'd rather find the problems now than later when it's all nice. So we've patched the fuel line. Yeah, so we're just letting it back down, put the boost pack on. I'll get underneath at the back. Dave's going to try it again.
So you can
Fingers crossed.
It runs.
Turn it off, Dave. Piss him out still. He's leaking further back as well. It is. Me and Dave have been chasing fuel leaks like no tomorrow. Literally, he'll patch a bit up and it'll leak again further down the line. So I think we've sort of got it under control, so we're not leaking. So now it'll start, it'll like idle and then cut out. And then if you try and rev it, nothing. So I'm gonna just disconnect the MAF sensor, because sometimes if you get like MAF related problems, disconnecting the MAF sensor puts it into like a limp home mode, and if it runs better without the MAF, it's probably the MAF sensor. But remember we had the infestation?
Yeah.
That was later on in the episode, because this is like a week, 2 weeks in now, isn't it, with this?
MAF then, innit?
The MAF has probably got all clogged up. We're going to have to clean that out, or we're going to have to get a new MAF.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dave rang his pal earlier, and he knows why his shorts are all dirty.
He threw up in his brand new car.
And Dave's had to pay for it to get it valeted. So yeah, Dave's in sicky shorts. But Dave,
Runs, mate.
he runs.
Let's go for a drive, then get that tank back up. What's the worst that's going
The
on?
bonnet isn't, so don't go too fast. The bonnet's not.
Don't even.
And it's off. Oh. Yes. Yeah, I think it's overflowing a bit, overfueling a bit, chucking out loads of black smoke. So Dave, this is kind of the end of the episode, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not the fastest I've ever been.
It runs now, finally.
Runs, drives,
Kind of.
no brake, no clutch, no MAF,
No MAF,
no fuel, no proper fuel lines.
no proper fuel lines. But we've kind of got a to-do list now, haven't we?
We always got a to-do list.
Yeah.
Everything we buy comes with a to-do list.
Nice, isn't it? Wide body.
It looks decent. Yeah, have you explained about it being a wide body?
No, I've only just realised.
So it's a wide body because if you look around the lights,
It's this what you can tell by.
it's extra.
That bit-
Whereas the ones just
the standard Celica is
runs flat.
it's flat there.
So this is like the only difference between this and the Carlos Sainz is the bumper and that, isn't it?
It's the bumper, the bonnet, and the intercooler setup, and I think 17 brake horsepower as well. Anyway, what are you going to tell them, Dave?
Like, follow, share and subscribe.
And
hit the bell icon for notifications when these videos are out, man.
Yeah.
Come on, spread the word.
You want to see more of this stuff?
Come on, I need £1,000 a week, man.